Holy buckets, here it is. It is in its brand new, beautiful binder. This is the Fan Clan Master Set of Temporal Forces. Look at how good this looks. Oh my goodness. This belongs to one of you. One of you gets to win this entire master set. And if you want to be the winner, here's what you have to do. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So scroll down, hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed, and then leave a like and a comment on this video right up here. Now, don't do it right now. Wait till the end of this video, but go back, watch this video, leave a like and a comment on this video, and then boom, you're entered. Come back on April 5th, Friday, April 5th. That's when we are going to announce the winner at the beginning of the video. Good luck. Seriously though, this is absolutely unbelievable. This is such a beautiful binder. I love the Voltex. It's got Walking Wake over here. It's got all the star pattern right up here from the EX cards. Temporal Forces Master Set. It's all etched on the actual binder. The Danny Phantom logo right over here. We got the Fanny right, you can't even see it, the Fanny right on the back over here. We've got the TEF set abbreviation right here. Huge set shout out. He asked me not to name his name, so I'm going to respect his wishes, and I'm not going to name his name, but one amazing Fan Clan member, he's like, hey, I know you give away a master set of every new set release, and I want to make a binder for these set releases, so can I send you a binder that's custom made for the Fan Clan? This is just, it's beautiful. Like, it's super nice. I love the fact that he uses Voltex. He uses the binders that are, you know, they're 12 up pages, like it fits the master set perfectly. It's just, it is perfect. So sincerely, if you're out there watching, which I know you are, thank you so much for this. This is absolutely gorgeous. I'm really excited to give this to one of you guys, to give this to a member of the Fan Clan, and we're going to keep going. This is something that it's like, this is going to be fun to do for a really long time. So thank you so much for making this. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to jump into today's video today. And this is one of my favorite videos that I like to record. So I took pictures of 21 booster boxes of Temporal Forces, just the hits. I just took pictures of the ultra rares. And the reason I like to do that is because one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, hey Fanny, when you're opening up a card store, is it wise to open up a bunch of booster boxes and then just sell the singles inside? Because you're, and the mindset makes sense, right? Like, you're buying something at wholesale, and then you're ripping it apart and selling all the singles, which are going to have some sort of value to them. And the answer is always no. It's a terrible idea. It is never a good idea. Now, sometimes it makes sense. If you can get pre-order pricing for the cards, it sometimes makes sense. But in our case, rarely does that happen. The main reason that we do it is because we want to make sure that we do have cards available for the competitive scene. Like, we know we're not going to make money on these booster boxes. We're probably going to lose money, but we want to make sure that we have cards available for the competitive scene. And it also really helps just add more variance to your website. It helps, like, if you're one-stop shop, like if you're going someplace and you're looking for sealed, you're looking for singles, maybe you want to add, you know, a few singles of the new set plus a booster box, then it's conveniently located all in one spot versus trying to go to different websites and piece everything together. So that's kind of the reason we do it. We know it's going to take a hit. It never ever works out. And I'm going to explain why in this video. So even now, Temporal Forces single prices a little bit all over the place. This is a very interesting set to pay attention to, with pull rates being different, especially on those upper echelon of rarities, those the special illustration rares and the hyper rares. Like, those are a lot more difficult to pull than what we're typically accustomed to during the Scarlet and Violet era. We talked about this a couple days ago, where I don't really believe in scarcity when it comes to modern Pokemon cards. It's just not something that I believe in. There's so much, even if this set is short printed, which really just means it was printed less than the last few sets because demand is down compared to where it was, you know, a couple of years ago. Even if it is shorter printed than previous sets, there's still going to be an absolute ton that's open. Even if pull rates are bad on special illustration rares, there's still going to be a ton of them available. And every single thing, one of the driving factors for a lot of these cards is going to be, well, what price point is it going to hit where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to part with this. I'm ready to part with this Raging Bolt special illustration rare, because now it's hit the price point where I'm like, okay, I can always buy another one down the road. And a lot of people have that mindset. A lot of people are like, okay, well, I can see it's kind of sold out on TCG Player right now. It's hitting that $60, $70 mark. I'm willing to take that $60, $70 and I'll wait 6-7 months for it to come down to $30, and then I'll buy it then. But then I'll I'll be able to use that $40 difference there to buy some other cards that I need for my collection. And I think that's the mindset a lot of people kind of go, and that's why you saw a bunch of cards kind of getting bought out. And I don't necessarily think it was market manipulation that was happening. I think it was more just slow, steady buyouts without anything being relisted, without any additional quantities really being listed, because pull rates are a little bit more difficult. When I was watching the set over the weekend, when I was watching some of these special illustration rares, if you look at like Walking Wake, and you look at Iron Leaves, and you look at Iron Crown in specific, it wasn't like these cards were selling out all at once. It would go from like 48 listings to 45 listings to 43 listings, and then it would slowly dissipate over the entire weekend. And then we got to Saturday night, and all of a sudden they were pretty much all gone without any replenishment happening. And then they got relisted for $200, which is crazy talk, because this is not a $200 card. And now all of a sudden it's already way back down to sub $100 prices, because the market is responding. Demand is not there at that price point. So I think it's a very interesting set to watch, because we've seen that happen with a lot of special illustration rares already, but I don't believe in scarcity when it comes to modern Pokemon. I think there is going to be plenty available as long as you just exercise patience, you don't FOMO, and it's not an easy thing, because you hear all these content creators and you hear all these people talking about it, but I want to go over these 21 boxes. So I took pictures of the first 21 boxes that I opened. Usually I do 20, but the 21st box was a little bit more interesting, so I wanted to include that one. I'll go over and I associate a price with every single one of them, so you can see the average value basically of every booster box, but then also what you're expected to lose when it comes to opening up booster boxes, especially as a storefront or even just as a collector. So I'm going to flip you guys around so I stop rambling and you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about, and I'm going to try my best to not let my ugly mug get in the way here of all the value. But here's the first box that we opened. You can see very underwhelming, right? We're not going to go through every single card. We're just going to kind of point out some highlights, because there is 21 boxes here, so we're not going to do repeat cards or anything like that. But you have the full arts at the top. There was only 2 of them in this box, just two ultra rares in this box, and that was the Gouging Fire and the Scizor EX. If you notice, there is no special illustration rare and no hyper rare. 40% of the time, based off of pull rate data, 40% of the time, you are going to get neither. You are going to get no special illustration rare. You are going to get no hyper rare. And that is something that we are just not accustomed to during the Scarlet and Violet era. We have been getting special illustration rares and hyper rares pretty much in every single box since Scarlet and Violet base originally came out. So the fact that 40% of the time you're opening up a booster box and you're not getting any of those upper echelon rarity cards, it's really kind of defeating to a lot of people who are spending $100, $110, $115 on a booster box, especially now with MSRP being higher than it was during the Sword and Shield era. The MSRP price on these, like if you went and bought a booster box of Temporal Forces at MSRP, can you imagine how bad that would have felt, you know, pulling something like this where your value is only $66 and you don't get a special illustration rare or a hyper rare? It's just not ideal. So I don't know what the reasoning is behind the different pull rates or the changed pull rates or anything like that. It's not a variance thing, because Obsidian Flames, which had less special illustration rares in this set, did pretty much guarantee a special illustration rare or a hyper rare in every box. And I know Pokemon says there's no guarantee of anything, but you're going to see a pattern throughout these 21 boxes where pretty much every single box is going to have 2 A specs and 3 illustration rares. If it's not seeded, then how is that the case where it's pretty much every single time in a booster box, a 36-pack sample size, that's the case? Now, there are a few outliers in here, but we'll get through those as we go. The really only highlight in here that's worth talking about is that Ghastly card right there, the illustration rare. This did jump up to about $30 at one point in time. It is backed off now, sitting at about $20 right now, but opening day price is right around $11 for Ghastly, so definitely demand for that one, but not necessarily $30 worth of demand. It seems like it's kind of hovering in the middle there. Also, we did have a Master Ball pull. Those A specs are holding on fairly well, and I think that just goes to show you that there's not a ton of Temporal Forces that is being opened, because you do get two A specs per booster box, and there's only 7 in the set. So there's going to be a lot of those compiled, a lot of those piling up, and there's some that are still very, very expensive, like that Prime Catcher, Master Ball kind of hovering in the middle, and then you've got some that are much, much cheaper. For example, like this Reboot Pod right over here, which is only a few dollars, but I don't even have that one up here. So in total, this one's only about $66. I have just a blank range of bulk at $10. Really, there's not a whole whole lot in the set that's super competitive out of the gates as far as trainer card goes, outside of Buddy Buddy Poffin. That's really the only card, but there's so much quantity, so much supply out there right now that it's kind of hovering right around $1. So $1.50 for that card. And then you've got a lot of other bulk in the set, and then you've got code cards, things like that, which are going to have very, very minimal value. So we just put a blanket rate of about $10 for bulk cards. This second booster box, we did hit a special illustration rare. You can see that upper echelon category doubled in size. So we have 4 of those full art cards, or 4 of those upper rarity cards, as opposed to the 2 that we had in the first booster box. We did get a full art supporter with that Bianca's Devotion, but that's all the way down to $4 already. That Morty's Conviction is sitting at $38, but even like the Iron Boulder full art, that's a bulk card that's only selling for $2 right now. Incineroar EX only selling for $3 right now. The Prime Catcher really helps make the box worthwhile. $32 on that Prime Catcher. Everything else relatively inexpensive. You can see a lot of the illustration rares very, very cheap right now. $3 for the Lickitung, $3 for the Snom, and only $2 for the Charjabug. And basically just bulk EXs. There's only 2 regular arts that are selling for basically above bulk EXs right now, and that's Iron Leaves, which is about $3, and then Iron Crown, which is definitely the most hyped of the set, selling for about $9 for the regular art right now. So not quite as good as Paradox Rift when it comes to some of those lower rarity cards. Temporal Forces, while it is expected to do well in competitive play, we won't really have answers for that until after it becomes legal, and that won't happen for a couple weeks yet when we go to the European International Championship over in the UK. So overall, this box only about $109 in value. This is not calculating any fees, any shipping charges, and the fact that you're probably going to be selling these is singular, or just 1 or 2 at a time. Maybe somebody buys a handful of them, so shipping charges, fees, and things like that add up. So unless you get a box like this, it's going to be very difficult to turn any sort of profit when it comes to opening up booster boxes. Well, you should open up booster boxes for fun, but don't necessarily break the bank opening up booster boxes and chasing your chase. Like, make sure you make smart decisions when it comes to collecting Pokemon cards, and you want to go out there, maybe have a little fun once a set releases, and then focus on buying singles at the most opportune time, which right now is going to be a lot of the lower rarity cards, because some of those upper rarities like Iron Crown are a little bit more expensive yet. So if we look at box number 3 here, we've got the Raging Bolt EX full art. That one's at $4. The Iron Crown EX, that's the one that's kind of stumped everybody right now. That one's selling for $101 currently. It's the only card above $100. It might have already fallen below $100. This was when I was looking last night at the data, so it might have already come back down at one point in time. This was over $200, but nobody bought it at that price point. A lot of people bought it at that $50 price point, and then all of a sudden got, bought out like crazy, and then all of a sudden it jumped up to $200 as it got relisted, and nobody was willing to pay that. So now it's hovering right around $100. I do expect it to continue to come down further and further. And then the Torterra EX only selling for about $3 right now. The Master Ball, again, we pulled one of those. Reboot Pod, we pulled one of those. Apparently I just didn't. Reboot Pod, $3 on that one. And then there's your illustration rares right in the middle, $3 a piece for Lickitung, Grottle, and Reuniclus. Other than that, everything on the bottom, all bulk EX prices. Even that Gengar EX, which looks super cool, but just a regular art, currently selling for bulk prices. The next box, another Morty's Conviction right here, another special illustration rare. Morty's Conviction is the one that we pulled the most of when it comes to special illustration rares. That one, and I believe the Iron Boulder, Bianca's Devotion, we touched on that one, only $4. The Iron Leaves EX, definitely a competitive card, but just for the full art, all the way down to $5 already. There's another Ghastly over there, which helps the box a lot. Same thing with the Master Ball, currently selling for $11, and then a bunch of bulk double rares at the bottom there, plus your added actual bulk from the box. You're looking at a $107 booster box right here. Next box, you do have the Morty's Conviction full art as opposed to the special illustration rare. That one's only selling for $3. The Terra Hat Pokemon, they do not do well. People do not respond well to these hat Pokemon. Pokemon really needs to figure out if they want to continue doing. I know it's part of the Scarlet and Violet era, so they're going to probably keep doing it, but they're not responding well. Wugtrio EX only selling for $2 right now. That's just a bulk card. The Gengar EX full art, this one's going to do well for a long time. Not going to be super expensive, but probably going to hover right around $8, $10, somewhere around there for quite a while because of how much people love Gengar. That one's selling for $12. Maximum Belt, this is one of the more expensive A-Spec cards. This one's selling for $15. And then you do have the Sawsbuck in there, which is doing fairly well for an illustration rare. That one is selling for $10. I believe that's the third most expensive illustration rare in the set. Meltan and Excadrill currently selling for $3. And then we did pull an Iron Crown EX regular art in this one at $9, and an Iron Leaves EX at $3. But even with those cards, if you don't pull a special illustration rare, and this is the sign that you're going to notice, if you don't pull that special illustration rare, you're going to be in trouble. $80 is the value for pulls when it comes to this booster box right here. So once you factor in fees and shipping and things like that, it's not looking very good. Here's another box. This one we only pulled one A-Spec. So the Prime Catcher one we looked at not too long ago, we pulled one. This one we pulled one. I think there's one other box yet that we only pulled one that I took a picture of, and then one that we pulled three. But on average, you're looking at basically 2 per booster box. This one, not a great box. The Iron Crown EX Full Art helps a lot at $13, but can't really save the box. You also have a regular art Iron Crown there at $9. The bulk, that brings that up to about $57 in value for the box, which is not ideal, especially once you factor in fees and shipping and things like that. Another box where we missed the special illustration rare and the hyper rare. It's going to be a trend. Remember, 40% of the time you miss, so this is not going to go well for a lot of these boxes. Iron Leaves and Iron Crown at the top there. You did get 2 of your A-Specs in this one, including a Master Ball at 14, or a Awakening Drum at 4, and then a Master Ball at 11. The Cincino, that is the second most expensive illustration rare. That one is currently selling for $14, but the Mincino, not nearly as expensive. That one's only selling for $4, and then a $3 Excadrill. Did get another Iron Crown EX regular art, which helps the box a lot. Total of this box, you're looking at about $82 in value. So again, another loss on that one. This one really, really bad. Raging Bolt EX $4, Torterra EX $3, and that's your upper echelon of rarity right there. Not very good. Your most expensive card in the box right now is that A-Specs Maximum Belt, selling for $15 currently. Everything else very inexpensive. We do have our first appearance of a Deerling illustration rare. That one is selling for $4, so quite a bit less than that Sawsbuck, which it evolves into. And then everything else basically just $2 or $3, plus your $10 in bulk from the box. You're looking at $57 in total. This one a little bit better because we do have the special illustration rare Walking Wake. That one is selling for $59 currently. Everything else we've pretty much covered except for the illustration rares. We do have a first appearance of the Mudsdale. That one's only selling for $2, one of the cheaper of the illustration rares. Metagross selling for $5, really cool looking card. And then the Puff the Magic Drampa currently selling for $4. Your Hero's Cape, one of the more expensive A-Spec cards, currently selling for $12, and then basically a bunch of bulk EXs right there, except for the Iron Leaves, which is currently selling for $3. So total on this one, about $115. Not a great box, but not terrible. This one's a little bit better because you do have that Morty's Conviction special illustration rare at $38. Also, Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking, the full art, doing extremely well. Currently selling for $12. So about 3 times the price of that Bianca's Devotion full art. About 4 times the price of the full art Morty's Conviction. So doing extremely well. Then we got hit really well with the A-Specs that we pulled. The Hero's Cape at $12 and the Prime Catcher at $32. And then in the middle there, the only new one is the Arbok. That one currently selling for $5. So right, basically a mid-level illustration rare there. We did not pull the Iron Crown EX regular art in this one, but we did pull an Iron Leaves for $3. You add in your bulk, you're looking at about $142 in value out of this box here. The next box that we're looking at, here's the Iron Boulder EX special illustration rare. That one not doing bad, but not doing great. About $24 on that special illustration rare. We did pull another Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking and a Gengar EX. So those add up a little bit, help the box out a little bit, but our A-Specs were of the lower level, as you can see right there. Neo Upper Energy, that is your cheapest of the A-Specs, currently selling for only $2, and then the Awakening Drum at $4. We do have a Snom there for $3, the Relicanth for $4, and the Arbok for $5. Everything else basically extremely cheap, except for that Iron Crown EX regular art, adding $9 to our total, making this basically very close to a break-even box at $99. Next box, not doing well at all. We did pull a Hyper Rare in this one with the Iron Boulder EX, but even that Hyper Rare, that gold card, those gold cards do not do well anymore. So $7 of value on that one. So even though it's super difficult to pull, there's just not a whole lot of value in it. So it's only $7 for that Iron Boulder. The full art Iron Crown we do have at $13. Everything else except for the Iron Crown EX regular art, basically very close to bulk pricing. The Litten illustration rare in the middle there, that one's about $5 right now, but even the Chatot is absolutely beautiful, but only a $2 illustration rare. And then we did pull an Iron Crown EX regular art and an Iron Leaves, which helps the box out a little bit, but still only a $70 box on this one, which is not very good. Another gold card, another hyper rare on this one with Walking Wake. That one is currently sitting at $10, which is typically about average for these gold cards. And then we have our first appearance of the Salvatore full art. That one, bulk pricing already right out of the gates. The Salvatore full art trainer only selling for $2. We did pull a Hero's Cape, which helps out a lot. All the illustration rares, which we've already seen. All of the regular arts, which we've already seen. Only about a total of $62 for this booster box, so that was not very good. A little bit better on this one. Gouging Fire Rare EX Hyper Rare. That one's selling for $9 currently. And then we have the Full Art Incineroar and Scizor EX, but Scizor EX only a $2 card right now. This box only had 2 illustration rares, so this was one of the few that we opened that only had 2. We did not open any that had 4. So for the most part, I'd say 90% of the time you're going to get 3. Every once in a blue moon, you might get 2. Did have 2 A-Specs, a little bit better of the A-Specs, which helps the box out a lot. Prime Catcher there at $32. Cutie Fly only at 2. Lickitung only at 3. And then the A-Spec Master Ball at $11. We did pull another Iron Crown EX regular art, which helps the box out a lot, especially when you get those regular art EXs that have a little bit of value. Those are a little bit easier to pull, so those will help out the average value of a booster box quite a bit. But your total in this one only about $94. Next box, we have our first appearance of Airy and Ferrigiraffe. So Ferrigiraffe, the full art Terra card, only $2. Like another very cheap, funny looking hat guy. Like it's only $2 on that one. The normal full art Airy, $7 on that one. So not doing terrible. Still better than Bianca. Still better than Morty. And then we've got the Gengar EX for $12. Another Iron Crown, but your lower end when it comes to the A-Specs. Everything else we've kind of gone over. Only about a $63 box for this one. The next box, only 2 full arts. You've got the Cypher Maniacs Code Breaking. That one's currently selling for $12. That's the most expensive pull in this box. Not a very good box. You did get the Heroes Cape A-Spec for $12. You did get the Master Ball for $11. But the illustration rare is only $2 for the Chatot, $3 for the Grottle, and only $3 for the Shiftry. No Iron Crown, no Iron Leaves. Overall, you're only looking at about a $68 box for this one. So quite a bit of a loss on that one. The next box, we do have the Special Illustration Rare Salvatore. That one currently selling for $11. That's the cheapest of the Special Illustration Rares. Only 1 A-Spec in this one, but it's the big one. It's the Prime Catcher, which helps out the value of the box quite a bit. $32 on that Prime Catcher. Ghastly Illustration Rare adding $20, but the Cutie Fly and the Bronzor only about $2. And then we did pull an Iron Crown EX. So even though this box doesn't look great, definitely a break-even box, which is a little bit better than what we've seen in the past because those cards that we did pull, some of them do have fairly decent value associated with them, so about $106 for that box. And I believe this is the last one right here. I want to take a picture of this because this is one where we pulled a hyper rare and a special illustration rare in the same box, and that just did not happen very often. So we've got the special illustration rare Gouging Fire at $47, the Raging Bolt EX at $4 full art, and then we've got the Iron Leaves hyper rare at $11. So your upper echelon rarities, we've got 4 of them up there, 2 full arts, a special illustration rare, and a hyper rare, which really help balance out the box extremely well. Only 1 A-Spec in this one, but again, it's the big one with the Prime Catcher at $32. And then we did pull an Iron Crown regular art in this one as well at $9, plus the Metagross illustration rare at $5. In total, after you add the bulk in, $140 for that box, which isn't too bad. We do have a couple more boxes, I guess. The Salvatore full arts, we pulled 2 of them in this box. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. $2 on both of those. The funny looking hat, Wug Trio, only $2. Master Ball at $11. This is the box that we pulled 3 A-Specs in, but all of them relatively cheap, except for that Master Ball there at $11. Everything else basically bulk. This is only a $54 box, so not ideal on that one. And then this box here has Morty's Conviction special illustration rare. That's a $38 card. Everything else we've kind of covered. Relatively inexpensive. We did pull 2 Walking Wakes. Again, batching is not a thing, but batching is a thing. $10 in bulk, $81 in total on that one. And then this one also another box where we pulled 2 of the upper echelon rarities. So we've got the hyper rare Iron Crown EX right there. That one's selling for $14. And then you've got the Iron Boulder special illustration rare at $24. This one also did have the best A-Spec that you could pull at $32 and the best regular art EX with the Iron Crown at $9. Illustration rares, Lickitung, Arbok, and Chatot. Arbok really the only one selling for $5. This was a $127 box. So if we break everything down, your total value of the pulls, if we add everything up, was $1,934. Our best box was only $155. So still not even hitting the MSRP level when it comes to value of pulls, even with our best box. And you have that nowadays because you don't have those $200 alternate arts that come out right out of the gates, right? Everything is a lot lower as far as price points go. Our worst box was $54. Our average box, $92.10. If you bought all these boxes at wholesale, which is about $90, if you buy a lot of them, you can probably get them a little bit cheaper, maybe $88. $98. If you don't buy that many of them, wholesale cost is probably about $92.50, somewhere around there. Total cost of them all, $1,890 if we add up 21 booster boxes at that $90 wholesale cost. Cost of these boxes at market price starting to go down a little bit, $102 for a booster box of Temporal Forces. If you bought all 21 at market price, it would be $2,142. Your profit loss at wholesale, this is not calculating any shipping, any fees, anything like that. So if you buy all these boxes at wholesale, your average value of pulls is going to net you $44 in profit, and that's what you have to use to ship everything out, and then calculate all your fees, your taxes, everything else. So it's definitely a loss even buying it at wholesale and opening these up. Your profit loss at market of $102, you're losing $208 by opening up all these boxes. And again, that's not calculating your additional fees and shipping and things like that. So have fun opening booster boxes, but never expect that you're going to pull more value out of it than you actually paid for the booster box, because if you're just chasing things that way, it's not going to go very well. That's why I like looking at this stuff, so you can get a good feel for what average pulls look like. Maybe you're kind of contemplating whether or not you should open up your Temporal Forces booster box. Well, I just showed you 21 of them. And if there's nothing that really stands out to you as like, hey, I really want to pull that box, I would recommend just leaving it sealed, maybe collecting it sealed for a long time, buying the singles that you want. I think that's a really good way to go with the set. Have fun, but don't make poor decisions when it comes, because I want you to stay in this hobby for as long as possible. Pokemon's a lot of fun. You want to enjoy it, but don't overextend yourself. That's the best advice that I could possibly give. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video, listen to me ramble for 25 minutes. I love you guys. I really appreciate you. If you like the content, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a really long way for the algorithm. But most importantly, again, thank you just for being here. Really appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Until next time, peace.